So I'm getting ready to slot some fingerboards for some mandolins. I like to do them in batches, just efficiency and setup. For the past like 10, 11 years, I used the this LMI kind of jig where you slide the blank through with the template, use the saw, cuts the fret slots. I think last year I decided to splurge and bought the thin kerf table saw blade, and so it's a lot better, to say the least. One thing I did is you have to make like a little push cross cut, push sled, and so what I did is I just used this thing that came with the table saw, took a piece of MDF board, and then screwed it onto this thing. And now I also had to put an indexing pin through to correspond with the slotting template. So what I did is I just measured the thickness of the ebony blank that I'm gonna be slotting. So I always use like 1/4 of an inch initially. Eventually, when all is said and done, the fingerboard is down to like 3/16 of an inch, more or less. Anyway, so I needed the index pin to be at least 1/4 of an inch above the surface of the table saw. And that way, as I pushed it through, I could move it along and cut. Obviously not gonna turn a table saw and do this, but set the depth of the blade, and then put this in the index slot, push it over, and then for the next fret, just move it down to the next one, and off you go. You repeat that process. Just like anything else that you're gonna be fretting or putting slots in, make sure the blank you're using is a nice square flush surface. So I've gone ahead and joined that end, nice square, and I've marked it just to verify that that's the end I'm using. And then you wanna make sure, whether you're using the LMI miter box jig, or if you're using like this sled type thing, that everything is square and perpendicular and going smoothly. So do a few test runs, especially if you're just starting to use the table saw to slot fingerboards or anything. You could really use this concept for a lot of different woodworking uses. So that's the process, and I'm gonna slot some fingerboards here.